What's your reaction to the protests that you've seen?
In the beginning, I understood it thoroughly because I'm one who's, had situations with police and I deal with it and I understand where he was coming from. But at the same time, it's like you have to really stand for it. And I don't believe he can do that and play football at the same time because there's too many rules and regulations and things that he has to deal with as opposed to being a revolutionary. But I do appreciate the fact that he brought something to America's attention that needed to be brought to their attention as far as knowing that there is a serious problem that we're dealing with outside of these sports and these activities that we do, that we have a great time and we celebrate. So I like him for that and I appreciate him for that. And I feel like he did his part. Now it's up to the world to recognize and do their part because he's only one person. He's got to get back to focus on what he's doing. And if this is what he wants to do, he needs to leave football out of it and just do it full time, as far as my perspective.
No, go ahead.
Why do you think people are so upset at the protest, but not what he's protesting about?
Because they're not paying attention to what he's protesting about. What he's protesting about is reality. It's the truth. But like you say, the truth hurts. People don't like dealing with the truth. They would rather him just be a football player and just do his thing. But when he speaks to issues that really touch people and they really mean something, then you question him as opposed to questioning what he's protesting.
Interesting you use that word revolutionary because he was that for a while. And I've told Shannon many times, initially I cringed that he sat for the national anthem. I'm a God and country guy, but did he ever start to open some eyes and some ears that were shut closed? And I admired it because it had impact, but that's a fascinating perspective that you think you can't do both. And I think he got really torn because more and more the people who supported him needed more and more from him to become a revolutionary. And we talked about all of a sudden he's having to make statements about Fidel Castro, and maybe he got a little out of his element, where he's not quite ready to be that. Maybe at some point down the line after he's through football, maybe he becomes that guy that you're talking about.
I think he needs a team. Just like when you play football, you're supported by a team.
Yep.
When you want to be a revolutionary, you have to be supported by a team. He didn't have a team supporting him. He stood out there on his own, and then players and people came to flock to him, but he never had a team with structure, with protocol. What are we doing? Why are we addressing these situations? How are we going to handle it? What's the solution? He just brought it up, and it just was in the air, and everybody looked at him for answers, and he had no answers. He just was bringing it to the people to say that this is a situation that we need to pay attention to.
Well, he got a lot of blowback this weekend for Castro, and a lot of times, a lot of people have compared Castro to Stalin and Hitler and Mussolini and Pinochet in Chile, and I get part of it where he says, he did so much for the black Cubans, but you can't say because he did something for one and then gloss over what he did to the others, because he and his regime killed a lot of people. People died trying to leave that island of Cuba. They're still dying trying to leave. So if it was that good, why are people dying? People are not dying as bad as things are in the U.S. People aren't dying to leave. Now, they might die because of some other unforeseen instances, but people were dying. People are still. My question is, ask Yasiel Puig. Ask Ioannis Cespedes.
And people that's escaped the country to come over here.
What they see, because we can
boats.
You and I can sit back and say, okay, this is what they said. How about people that have firsthand,
personal
intimate knowledge?
Yes.
Because that's the thing that the Cuban population, a lot of them in Miami, was so upset when he referenced Castro in a positive light. Because the people that got so upset at him have a personal, intimate knowledge with Fidel Castro. What Colin Kaepernick is protesting, people that have a personal, intimate knowledge with police brutality, they have a different look from a people that's never experienced it.
Exactly.
And so people that's never experienced it and he's protesting, will stand up. You could do that some other time. But if it was something that had touched them,
then they
like the breast cancer. See, we all stand united for breast cancer because we all know someone.
Somebody that's touched us that has.
Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a mother-in-law or a brother-in-law, whatever. So we know someone. But if you haven't had that intimate, personal feeling of someone being brutalized or someone's life being taken innocently, then you look at it from a totally different perspective.
So he's sort of kind of hypocritical in so many words because he's pushing this, but at the same time he's giving credit for this, and it's the same abuse that they've been taking. So it makes you hypocritical to be able to speak on this topic and that topic. That's why I say he doesn't have a team. If he had a team, they would tell him, you can't say this. This is what you need to say. It's preparation. It's like when you go on, he's not a quarterback that's just running out there calling what he wants. He has to prepare. He gets the plays. He gets the tape. He watches. That's what happens when you become a revolutionary. You have a play that you're going to run. It's not just running out there.
And
That's a great point.
Skip, I said he's painting on this canvas, but he started trying to touch on and paint over here. Let's finish this first. Your objective is the United States of America and the police brutality and the inequities of minorities in America. Cuba, hey, hopefully there'll be a time that I can address that. But there are more pertinent issues right here in America that I need to address.
And I don't even understand the Cuban thing, so let me not speak on something I'm not really aware of, because now I look bad when I say something that I'm representing positive, but the whole community is really mad at me now for saying something that I didn't even have no knowledge of.